everybody. Welcome back to Trick Tracker special show in the air with me, Nivedna Prabhu. This is something that we had kind of anticipated, and that's exactly what I had asked Pratyay as well. If Bairstow gets going, then will that mean that some things are going to be changing around for Team India? We'll get a little bit of talking further about individual performances, but let's take a quick look at the summary at lunch. Currently, Team England is 200 for 6. Like I just said, Bairstow has got it going for Team England. 91 not out. He's still at the crease, which also kind of talks about that partnership that Ben Stokes and Bairstow had going. But Ben Stokes, of course, is not playing at the moment. But with the fact that they still have Bairstow on, let me get talking to Pratyay. Before we dive into that, Satish saying hello to us. Hi Satish, tell me, आपको क्या लगता है यहाँ से what is going to be happening in the match? Do you think that it's a cakewalk now, or do you think it's too soon to tell? Tell me in the comments. Pratyay, coming to you, this is something that I did ask you earlier when we connected in the pre-match analysis, that if Bairstow gets going, then there's probably no stopping him, looking at also the momentum that he's got and the form that he's in. But from here, let's talk about that. What do you really think is going to, pan out? Because Ben Stokes is not there at the other end to help him out. So, is there a possibility for him to still get going?
Well, frankly speaking, my assessment was not this, because I did not expect England to still manage to score at the pace at which they did. Because if you ask me, I said that I was expecting close to 80, 90 runs for the loss of 2 wickets. And here we have a cut short lunch session because of the rain, and England has managed to score already over 100 runs, around 110, 115 runs, because they resumed at around 84 for 5, and only at the loss of 1 wicket. So I think it's really, threatening. The way England has been batting this entire summer. The reason I assessed was because you did not see Bairstow, into his elements yesterday, which was also a talking point. I think Graham Swan very correctly pointed out that he was kind of looking a pale shadow of himself, and that was a very correct assessment, given the fact that we have seen him striking the ball like it's nobody's business. In this entire summer, but that is exactly what he got back to doing in this particular session. Took on Bumrah, took on Shami, and scored really quick runs. But I think India would be really, really breathing easy at the moment, because they dropped Stokes twice, and the fact that they have been, able to manage to see his back, they would be really breathing easy. Because had it been a situation that he would have been here right now, then India could have really been in trouble. So I think that's one big reason for India to be happy about. But if you're talking about Bairstow, he has Billings at the other end. He is a quality batter, and if they can get going, these two, then you can still feel that there might be a little bit of a threat. But still, given how things stand at the moment, India still has a cushion of a lot of runs. So I think that is the only good thing in their favor. But they have to stop Bairstow at any cost, because once he gets going, we know what he's capable of.
Right, and I think what Team England was trying to do with Rishabh Pant, that's exactly what now Team India will have to replicate to kind of stop the momentum going for Bairstow. Probably that's the only way forward for them at the moment. A little bit of an update coming in that because of the rain, which is why the reason behind the early lunch, if you're wondering why we've all connected earlier as well. And like we said, when we saw that weather report, don't really trust anything when it comes to English weather. But continue to talk about this particular match and how things have panned out. If you could take a look at both the batting as well as the bowling summary till at the moment. Now, the batting card here, of course, being we've seen that Bairstow is still playing 91 not out of 113. Jack Leach could not capitalize, 0 after having faced 5 balls. Ben Stokes trying his best to give it his all, but of course he's been able to only contribute 25 runs. Sorry. But Sam Billings at the crease, 7 not out. Do you think, coming to that aspect about Sam Billings contributing, he would just want someone to stick around on the ground for as long as possible. But Bairstow would just want to, continue his game as much as he gets the support, maybe not through boundaries, but just having someone on the opposite end. Probably that would be a strategy now.
Absolutely, yes, Nivedna. Because if you actually draw a contrast between what kind of a partnership Pant and Jadeja had, you can say that the role that Pant played there of the aggressor is the role that Bairstow is playing right now. And the biggest part is that you cannot afford to lose another wicket, because if that goes down, then India is really into the tail, because you have Potts, you have Anderson, you have Broad. There's not really too much of a batting muscle left after the fall of another wicket. So I think it's very important that this partnership goes on for England, because they're still quite behind, as I said. So I think it's important for them to carry on with this partnership. And Bairstow, I mean, he is going to be, of course, the key wicket, because the thing is that he bats in a fashion it takes the game away from you very quickly, because the pace at which he is scoring runs, suddenly you started the day when you were more than around 350, 360 runs behind, and suddenly you have crossed, I mean, close to 120, 130 runs in a very quick amount of time, in a very little amount of time. So that kind of takes the pressure away from you, and suddenly you will feel that another 100 runs knocked off from this partnership, and then you are getting close to the Indian total. So then it starts to look a little lot more comfortable at this point in time, as it does. So I think it's important that India manages to strike, even if they are not being able to take Bairstow's wicket, they can try to maybe take wickets from the other end and try to keep Bairstow stranded, because at the moment the way he is batting, it's really looking dangerous. And I think he sort of kind of G'd up. I mean, there was a moment between Kohli and Bairstow there. Before that, he was going really quite. I mean, it's interesting the things that you see in Test cricket, how these things can change around. Suddenly, you saw that the momentum shifted in Bairstow's way. Probably an angry Bairstow taking on Indian bowlers. So I think that just got him going, maybe, because before that, if you see, he was playing in a very un-Bairstow like fashion. At least what we have been seeing of him off late, you do not expect him to take those many balls and play very slow. But the way he has been playing after that, ever since he had an altercation with Kohli, completely changed the game. So I think looking ominous touch right now, and India needs to get him as quickly as possible.
Well, that's quite a controversial statement to be making if we are crediting Kohli to get best or riled up. But of course, that's all in the lighter note. Maybe we'll see the favor being returned by Bairstow much later. Kya pata us tarah se century mil jaye Kohli ke liye, hai na? But coming back talking about this particular match, if we could take a look at the bowling summary to find out where the bowlers currently stand. 1 for 28, Shardul Thakur. 1 for 42, Siraj, Shami 1 for 63, and Jasprit Bumrah, of course, 3 for 55. Of course, these bowlers are trying to do their best to get that breakthrough Bairstow's wicket. This is just probably all eyes currently on to get a Bairstow's wicket. There's nothing more, because that partnership was the one which was adding value to the game. But the partnership has been broken. But the main person that is supposed to go off the crease now is probably all these bowlers will try looking at. Coming back to the game, let's take a quick look at what's happening on social tracker, what the conversation is like with the way the game that has panned out currently at lunch. Prasenjit Day tweeting, no fun in taking easy catches, but Jasprit Bumrah couldn't let go when he saw a tough one. It clearly is the Bumrah show in this particular match. Now, WB Raman tweeting, watching Bairstow bat the way he does in Test cricket prompts a couple of questions. What are the persons used? How far ahead of the times were the likes of Richard, Shrikant, Jayasurya, Gilchrist, and Sehwag, just to mention a few? Bumrah batting, bowling, fielding, captaining, Sehwag tweeting. Rightly so. I mean, one more saying that Pacers have done all right, but why no sign of Jadeja as he can choke from one end? All right, we talk about 2 points over there. Bumrah, of course, making it seem seamless. I think everybody was analyzing and wondering if the captaincy pressure would have got to him. But seems like this has been some new avatar of him, like that particular tweet that Sehwag tweeted. He's got everything going: captaining, batting, fielding, bowling. Seems like it's been a cakewalk for him. A lot about Bumrah, but dusri taraf, that interesting thing about not introducing Jadeja, yet is that Bumrah's strategy. What is your takeaway from this? Is it still good that they haven't got him on?
Well, I think some of the England players, I mean, that they feast on spinners. I mean, Bairstow can murder spinners when he's on song, Stokes as well. So I think the reason you would want to, probably because the way he was playing pace, you can
Yeah.
only expect what he might do to a spinner at this point in time. So I think maybe because of that tactic, as well as you think that you have a little bit more time to use this ball as much, because once it becomes soft, anyways, it will not be doing a lot for the pacers. So this is actually the time when pacers can probably use it. And as I said, I mean, because we have lost so much game to the rain. Yesterday, only around 30-35 overs of game being done. On the first day, we lost a fair bit of play as well. So I think because of that, the bowlers are not really even as tired as you would expect them to be on a day three morning, because they have not played that much cricket in the previous 2 days that have gone by. So I think that has a role to play as well. And I think it's important. I mean, what kind of circumstances that they are playing in? It's still slightly overcast. It's now again raining, so you would probably expect the ball to nip around a little bit, because whenever there's moisture, whenever there's a cloud cover, you expect the ball to do a bit of its own thing. So maybe that could be one of the reasons. But I'm increasingly sure that you will see Jadeja in action sooner rather than later. And of course, as I said, that this partnership, if India can manage to break it, because this is now kind of the last recognized pair that you're talking about once you get into the tail, because they are still 216, 215 adrift from the Indian total. And that is important for them too. I mean, India would want to take as big a lead as possible and keep England under pressure, because one thing that we have clearly understood under the era of Brendan McCullum and Ben Stokes, that no matter what the situation, this England team is just not going to take their foot off the pedal. They continuously keep on accelerating, because you do not expect those kind of strokes. I mean, you can even be critical of how Stokes kind of threw his wicket away, because he got a couple of chances. Bumrah dropped him, beg your pardon, Shardul Thakur dropped him before that. And Shardul Thakur, at the moment, he would be sighing, he would be sighing of relief, because he redeemed himself, took his wicket, because you never know. I mean, Stokes can always, be a very costly drop. So India would be very happy that at least they are not being able to, kind of being made to pay for that drop. So at least Stokes is back, but Bairstow still remains. So England, I think, slightly in a good mood at the moment after the kind of start they have today.
So basically, what Pratya is trying to say is that half the battle is won with having sent Ben Stokes back to the pavilion. Lekin
Absolutely.
jang kabhi bari hai, because of course at the end of the day, the momentum is only being granted by Bairstow, and if you rattle that a little bit, then it's a matter of time when they fall like a pack of cards, or at least that's what Indian cricket fans are hoping. On that particular note, rather optimistic note, let's hope that rain once again does not come into play and spoil this show for anybody, either of the teams. But would also want to thank Pratik for coming quickly on the show and giving us his viewpoints as to where these two teams stand at the moment when they have gone for lunch. But we will be back once again discussing everything between these two teams. So when we're back the next time around, I hope to see all of you once again with all your questions and analysis. Until then, of course, stay tuned to Cricket Tracker for everything related to the world of cricket.